Hi, I'm Al Blythe. This is August 20th, and this is the 11th of our series for the Cobra Hive series. So here's our beehive. We're going to open up this morning or this afternoon. It's about 6 o'clock. It's about 80 degrees. There's bees all over the front of this. This is now 4 high, totally filled. I think they're honey bound, which means that they have hardly any room for brood. So we're going to look them over, and I'm going to put my veil on here, which I didn't do yet. And we're going to pull some honey frames to harvest today and show you a couple of different methods for that. And then just check them for general vigor. Well, obviously they look pretty good. They're full. They've got bees up here on the inner cover. I don't see any beetles, which is nice. Break open this inner cover and set this aside. So we have a hive beetle trap in here. I believe this one's called the Beetle Blaster, and last time we were looking in here, they did have a few beetles they'd run into this trap, so we'll look again today. There are a few. I don't know whether you can see down in here, there's some dead beetles that are floating in the oil in the bottom of that. And this is open on top, so we're just going to put it aside and we'll put it back in when we're done. I should have brought a frame holder, but I didn't, so we'll just set this aside and take a look at what we've got up here. Pretty sticky. There's a perfect frame of honey. It's capped from side to side, corner to corner. To harvest a frame of honey, you would like to see that frame be 80% capped over. That's about what this is. There's some in here that's not capped. Probably had brood in it and it just hatched out and they have filled it with nectar. I would take that one without any question if I'm going to harvest one, and we'll look at a couple of others and see how they are up here in this top super.
Why do you want it to be 80% at least?
The reason you want it to be 80% is that you want the honey to be at 17% or less, actually probably 18% or less moisture content. Because if it's higher than that, it'll probably ferment. And so that when the bees have capped it like this frame right here, it will fit that criteria. They'll have dried it down to be dry enough that it will not ferment and it will be good honey and not just nectar. So there are 2, here's 3. We got plenty of cap frames here. We could take this whole super off. I wish I had a skateboard or a fume board for a 5-frame hive, which I don't have. So that means that we'll have to shake and brush the bees off of these to harvest this honey. And I think we'll take all of the ones in this top super. And then we'll give them some additional empty frames in here that we've just extracted, and they'll be able to utilize that to fill back up. Every one of these is beautiful, perfect capped honey. Kind of as I predicted when we set this hive up, this is a great location. We've got all this pollinator plantings behind us, and these bees are bringing in pollen right now. We have not seen a summer dearth here at all. They continue to bring in pollen and nectar every day. That may not be the case with every hive of bees in central Ohio. All right, I'm going to set this aside and look at the one below it, and then we'll see what the condition of those is before we start shaking bees off of here. So the couple of methods I talked about, I have an 8-frame hive here, 8-frame super here. This is an escape board, and this is my preferred way to remove honey. If you've got a little bit of time, you put this board underneath your hive. The bees go out through here. They come out this direction, so you put this underneath the filled hive, filled super of honey, and within a couple of days they escape. The next best way is a fume board. This is a fume board. It's got a felt on here and a dark colored lid on top. And we use, I prefer this particular product. It's Fisher's Bee Quick. And it is an herbal concoction that's got almond oil and some other things in it. You spray that on the felt cover, lay that on top, and the bees hate the smell of it, and it drives them out in about 10 minutes. I don't have one of these for this size of hive, so that puts us down to using a bee brush in the shake method, which we will do. But first of all, I want to look down the next one below and see if maybe there's a couple of frames there we should be taking out as well. I'm used to hoisting these much heavier supers of honey. That one weighs about maybe 20 pounds. A 10 frame is, well, that's probably 25 pounds. 10 frame medium is pushing 45, 50 pounds. Okay, this has got brood in it. There's some pollen in here. Some capped honey around the outside. So obviously we aren't going to be taking this off for honey production. Pollen in here again. Let's make sure they've got brood and a viable queen down here. Set this aside carefully. Nice cap brood there. Few drones. Well, I do. I can see some eggs down in these cells here. There's eggs and larvae in there, and this is cap pupa. So there is a laying queen in here. Eggs are awfully hard to see with the phone. Maybe you can down in those cells see the little white speck. Since I've got the, the high-powered bifocals, I'm great. Okay, good. That's really all you need to do. You don't need to find a queen every time you open your hive. In fact, you're better off not to. The less you disturb them, the better. Once you see you have eggs, you know you have a laying queen, you can kind of put that colony back together and go on with the business of the day and not disrupt them any more than that. I do like to look pretty carefully at this last frame I pull out, make sure the queen's not there so I don't risk rolling her or injuring her when I put it back in. All right, now the fun begins. I think, how am I going to do this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this super back up here, and we'll pull a frame at a time and take it out and put it in that one, and we'll put an empty frame back in its place, and this will stir them up pretty good. They don't really like being brushed very much, but for if you only have one hive of bees and you don't have a lot of extra equipment around, this is the way that you harvest a few frames of honey. So what we'll do, I'll go ahead and hit them with a little bit of smoke. Maybe some of those bees will go down to the next super, the next box. There'll be a few fewer of them. We'll certainly go off the top. And then we will take one of these out. Make sure the queen's not on here each time. So I'm going to look at them closely, shake them either back into there or in front of the hive. Queen should not be up here because this is all honey and she has no business being there, but you never know. And I sure don't see her here. So I'm going to give her a big shake and then take my bee brush, and we're just going to flick these bees off like this, and most of them will go back home. There'll be a few hangers on.
So beautiful.
And we'll put that in this box. And we'll get the next one.
Shake, 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 shake.
Obviously, this is a lot easier with a nice gentle hive of bees like this one than it is with a really aggressive hive. So it's one of the reasons you should be thankful your bees are not very aggressive. Okay, now I have two out of there. Whoops, dropped the hive tool. Shake, shake, shake. Notice that this is the day I wore the gloves because this is an action which does stir them up a lot more than just a casual observation of your bees, and you are more likely to get stung when you're brushing the bees off than you are when you're just going through the hive and taking a peek at them. Okay, we got two more to get. We'll put these empty frames in and they'll have some place to add some stores. These empty frames are ones that we've already extracted honey out of, so they're sticky with honey, and they're already drawn out, so the bees will have a really easy time filling them back up with fresh honey for the fall. And at that point we'll decide whether we leave those frames of honey in or if we take a few frames of goldenrod out later on. Did you get stung? Okay. Just back up a little bit.
Okay.
Don't want the videographer to get stung. You've got to have one bare hand to be able to work a cell phone camera. There's my fifth frame. they're more excited about those empty frames of extracted honey probably than me taking these away from them. Oh dear, I dumped my beetle trap. These frames were all built this year, so they're labeled with the year 21 on them. I like to line them up on the same direction so that we get them back in there in the same orientation each time. Here's my beetle trap going back in. The inner top is right here. I bounce that in front of the hive, knock the bees off, and put it back on with the upper entrance up there. I know a lot of people recommend that in this summertime, when there's a possible dearth, you don't have an upper entrance. I think in our situation, there's plenty of forage. The bees are bringing in pollen and nectar, and I'll leave their entrance open. Okay, well, I think that's it for today. We're going to sign off and haul this to the truck before any bees come to take it back. Thank you.
Bye.